Hi guys, welcome to the Neuro Circus. I'm Kimberly Cox, your ringleader here. The Neuro Circus is where we talk about the three rings of circus, our life, the three-ring circus, and personal and home and family and business or work, and how we make all three of those rings harmonize with the neurodivergent brain. Today I'm doing day 6 of the 21-day YouTube challenge from Neurodivergent Mom. Today is one of those days when I'm like, okay, let me not get on my soapbox too much. Today's prompt is talking about what I wish people knew about autistic and ADHD meltdowns. So, I said a lot in yesterday's video about how when meltdowns are about to happen, like when I was younger, I just let everything fly. And I didn't even really quite understand the inappropriateness of it. And then as I got older and really understood more of the inappropriateness of it, I would heavily mask, to try to internalize everything, keep everything in, so that no one else had to deal with my bad attitude, bad mood, the things that I felt triggered by, whatever. So one thing that I wish people understood about meltdowns is a meltdown is not a tantrum, okay? There are a lot of people that are like, oh, they're just having a tantrum, they didn't get their own way. One of the things about ADHD, autism, all of those sort of divergent diagnoses, there we go. They deal a lot with your nervous system. And so a lot of times, in fact, every time it is an actual meltdown, it is not because I didn't get my own way. It is because my nervous system is now been triggered to go into fight or flight mode because of, a lot of times it's because of past issues, okay? As an adult that was not diagnosed as neurodivergent as a kid, there was a lot that was expected of me that I was either unable to do completely, or in order to do it, I had to zone in, give 1,000% energy, and it would wear me out. And it was all normal stuff. It was all daily stuff. So it's not like you get a reprieve as a kid from school. It's not like you get a reprieve as a kid from chores. You know, you're expected to do these things every single day. And if the things you're expected to do every single day are difficult for you, but nobody understands how difficult they are for you, then they think you're being lazy. They think you want to get out of it. They think you're just trying to, be a kid and argue and not have to do stuff, when in all actuality, the real point is I don't have the proper tools, the proper accommodations I need in order to feel less exhausted by these things. So I can go for a couple of days, maybe 3 days, maybe even 4 days I can go in a row doing all the things and just trying to keep going and just kind of living off of the adrenaline of it all. But at a certain point, you literally have no more energy to give. And when you have no more energy to give, but people don't understand that, because they don't understand how hard things are. They don't understand where your difficulty is. They don't understand that your working memory is not working correctly. They don't understand that all of these things, clean your room has 27 different parts to it. Now, I could start on one part, I could jump to another part, I can do all 27 parts, but only do them a quarter of the way. Now it looks like I've literally wasted my time and not done anything, when the actuality is I've worked so hard. I've worked nonstop. I just didn't work in a productive manner because my ADHD and my bouncing all over the place, my inability to hold attention on something got in the way. There is a term that is thrown around a lot in European countries. The United States does not recognize this at all, but it is called pathological demand avoidance. And basically what it means is I can want to do something, but the minute I feel demanded to do it, it's going to feel impossible. It's going to feel like I no longer have a choice and I'm being forced into something. I all of a sudden feel like my back is against the wall and you are holding me in this position, making me do something I don't want to do, even if I wanted to do it. And I feel like this is something that people just... I have told my own child this. I tell my child this often. I tell myself this often. We have to do things we don't want to do sometimes. The trick is to trick yourself into it not being a demand. Again, this is another accommodation that we make for ourselves. But when someone is barking out orders at you, do this. Why haven't you done that already? Why wasn't this done? Oh my goodness, why is this like this? It begins to feel like you're, even when you are trying, it doesn't matter. And that can a lot of times feel like hopelessness. Like if what I'm trying to do does not matter, if you are not seeing that for what it is, why am I trying? Why am I banging my head into a brick wall and trying so hard and taking all of my energy and giving it and giving it and giving it, and still it's not good enough? And I think that that is one of those things where it's very difficult, because if you're used to doing something, okay, we do a lot of things by habit, okay? We wake up in the morning, we go to the bathroom, we get something to drink, we have breakfast, whatever. There's things that we do in the morning that we do because they're habit, okay? Now, when you're a kid, you haven't built those habits yet. So to a kid, a lot of times, those habits that you already have, that you're trying to teach your kid, feel like this mountain crushing down on them, because maybe I don't feel like doing this right now. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe I want to do this first, you know? And so there's a lot of places where a basic meltdown stems from us feeling the anxiety of not being in control, the anxiety of not being in control and not having control over how we do things. Okay, this is why accommodations are so important. Because if I know, just like my day-to-day life, I know that if I wake up in the morning and I listen to some positive music and I set my intentions for the day and I do my gratitude and I do all those things, I'm going to be in a better space personally to handle all of the crushingness, all of this demand and this person needs this and that person needs that. I'm going to be in a better place for it because I got to pick to do my stuff first. And then bring it on. Let's go. But then there's also a point. Some days are more difficult because there are some days when more is demanded of you. And that can feel, a lot of times it can feel unfair. And fairness is another one of those places where A lot of neurodivergent people, if they don't feel like something is fair, it's very difficult for them to just suck it up and deal with it, because it's not fair, and other people don't have to do it this way. Other people, can, and it's funny because I even think about, like, the idea of, okay, well, everybody has to do things they don't want to do, but there are people who still get to do a lot more of what they want to do. And, I think that's where a lot of us strive to be, in that total autonomy of, I choose what I do, when I do it, how I do it, and that's where giving your kids, and even yourself, these are the goals for the day. This is what needs to get done. Now, you can pick whatever order you want to do it in, but these are what have to happen today. And then it becomes a little bit easier for us to get through it. Anytime there are things demanded, it feels like your back is against the wall, and that fight or flight mode kicks in, and we will fight, we will run away, or we will freeze. Those are our options in that moment. So, accommodations, that is the takeaway for this video. And that is one of the things that the Neurocircus is trying to really kind of drive home, is that everybody can have the accommodations that they need. Everybody deserves the accommodations that they need. And it's teaching ourselves as parents how to figure out what we need, and then give ourselves that, and then teaching us how to teach our children to figure out what they need. And then some of it is us meeting those needs in a timely manner, and the other part is them advocating for their own needs. And as we start to bridge this gap, and everybody's needs are getting met in a way that makes them feel cared for and safe and like they matter, you start to see a happier, more fulfilled family life, because now all of a sudden I don't feel like I'm at the mercy of everyone else, and everyone else doesn't feel like they're at the mercy of this thing or that thing. So the accommodations are huge. And when you can give yourself and your family those accommodations, and sometimes they're not going to work, sometimes you have to switch things up. And that's also a part of what this community is it's a community, because when one of us needs to vent, when one of us needs a moment to be like, okay, I've been trying this and it's been working amazingly, and now all of a sudden it's not. And now I have to go back to square one. And now I'm mad because this all worked out perfectly, and now it doesn't. And now I'm forced, my back is against the wall, I have to come up with something else, and I have to switch things up. So, but having that community that understands that why you're frustrated, and can say, you know what, I get that you're frustrated. You have the right to be frustrated. Take a breath, feel your feelings, let's get through it to the other side. And then we can try something else. And there's people, because I think a lot of times when we try something and it doesn't work, then there's the feeling of failure. And a lot of us have felt like we're failures, and that is another triggering point. So if you start to feel like what you're doing is failing, then you start to feel like, why am I doing it? And here comes that hopelessness that we're going around in this vicious cycle. But when you have a community that can get behind you and say, okay, you don't have to be that attached to the outcome. You try something, it doesn't work, you try something else. It doesn't work, you try something else. That'll work. Okay, we do that for a little bit. Now we need to do that again. We do that again. Doesn't mean that you failed. It means that right now the accommodations are not working for that person in this moment. And having someone outside of you being able to say that until you are able to actually realize that for yourself is huge. And it does so much good for keeping us on track and helping us to stay out of those negative cycles. Because once we get into those negative cycles, that negative thinking, that feeling like we're failing, that feeling like there's no point in continuing, it's hard to pull ourselves back out of it. So being in this place where we have people that are willing to come up and just grab us and say, it's okay, you're doing fine, I promise. You're doing exactly what you need to do. It may not feel like it. You may feel like whatever you're doing is not what you should be doing, or you're failing in it, but you're not failing. The accommodations just are not aligned with what the person needs at the moment, whether that's yourself or whether that's a family member. Okay, I told you I was going to get on my soapbox on this one, didn't I? All right, so I'm going to end it here. I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. Stay tuned tomorrow for day 7 of the 21-day challenge. I'm Kimberly Cox. This is the Neuro Circus. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.